Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen. This is Pandora the Day. Yes, we are lunging in honor of today being a anti-social justice warrior Saturday. We shall be heading over to Marina. Shut up. And I'm sure you've probably seen this video before, or seen this kind of video before, so you may already have an idea of what I'm going to probably say. I've done one. One was with Francesca. This one is with this one. Anyways, let's get it on with, folks. Let's do it. Now, for those who don't know what cultural appropriation is, we start.
I'm Phil Mickelson, pro golfer.
What up, Phil?
My psoriatic arthritis caused joint pain, just like my moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis. And I was worried about damage. My doctor said joint pain from RA can be a sign of damage that could only get worse.
Seeing as I don't want to add any more.
Hi, welcome to Feminist Fridays, a series where we explore the social, the political, and the media from a feminist and intersectional perspective, and use a lot of F words. On today's episode.
Okay, first of all, we are not censoring the word Friday. Friday didn't do a single thing to us, remember?
So on Feminist Fridays, we're going to be discussing what has been by far the most requested video topic, cultural appropriation. If you've ever been to a Halloween party, then you're most likely familiar with cultural appropriation.
No, my dearest Marina, those are known as costumes. Those are not cultural appropriation. But, seeing as we're going to actually discuss this, and for those who are new, which I've never seen me discuss it before, here's the definition of the said word. You may have already heard it if you're on a college campus and had to deal with this bitch, but let's just make sure for those who are into it know what it is. And yes, I am very sorry for not making a lot of content. I'm trying to figure out a decent schedule, so that's why. So wait, anyways, yes, I like Phil's philosophy. Oh, yeah, I guess. And this is according to Google. Okay, now according to, yeah, as you see. Anyways, cultural appropriation is the adoption or use of elements of one culture by members of a different culture. So, yeah. Basically, it's cultural appropriation, according to Wikipedia here. I know I said Google, but is seen by some as controversial, notably when elements of a minority culture are used by members of the cultural majority. This is seen as wrongfully oppressing the minority culture or stripping it of its group's identity and intellectual property rights. In other words, basically, you're doing something that you, with this person, thinks only a subset of a certain race, gender, whatever the heck it is, does. And you should stop doing that. Stop. Stop. Listen to the meat of the video. That's what the definition is, so.
What is cultural appropriation? First, we need to define what culture is. The sociologist Nikki Lisa Cole defines culture as the practices, beliefs, ideas, values, traditions, rituals, language, speech, modes of communication, material objects, and performances that are central to the social life of any given group of people. Cultural appropriation.
Right? Things people do.
When you take something from a culture that you don't belong to, such as a Native American headdress, Coachella, and use it outside of that cultural context, usually without understanding its cultural significance and oftentimes changing its original meaning. For an example, the swastika, which we are all familiar with as a symbol used by the Nazis during the Holocaust.
I love how she did that. Yeah. So basically, the American flag falls under this, as it shouldn't. But yeah, apparently no one else has a identical flag but America, and somehow Hitler are the ones that she uses. So, well, she uses the swastika. And technically, yes, they did take it from there, but once you turn it like that, yeah, they already made it their own, okay? I don't care if the Buddhists used it, and it'll also be an insult to the Buddhists, seeing as this is supposed to be turned this way, not this way. Take a point. But anyway.
Go with it. Originally, the swastika was used as a sacred symbol in Hinduism and Buddhism to represent prosperity, good luck, and liberation. However, it started being associated with rather opposite concepts in the 1920s when it was appropriated and bastardized by the Nazi Party. This is the perfect.
Much like you third-wave feminists are completely and utterly bastardizing feminism. No offense, but yeah.
Example of an outside group taking something of religious and cultural significance and changing its original meaning so that it's no longer accessible to the group that it was taken from. Modern examples of cultural appropriation include Katy Perry performing in a modified kimono and geisha makeup, Katy Perry performing in a bindi, and just Katy Perry in general. But isn't America?
No offense, but is this because Katy Perry's not a feminist, so she does not nor is relegated to following your idiotic rules? That's why she's in here? Just saying. And it's the same conversation I can have with someone who's religious, by the way. I happen to be religious myself, so.
Melting pot. The myth of the melting pot is an outdated model used to describe the equal blending of cultures to create one single, new, and better culture. However, most sociologists have scrapped this idea.
It's not so much as a better culture, it's just what happens. Someone wants to try some of my gumbo that I made. I want to try his spaghetti. Why not trade? Or heck, maybe we're sharing the same ingredients. So, yeah. Just cooked in a different way. Though I don't know how in the world noodles got in my gumbo, but okay.
Look at the blending of cultures like a salad. They all keep their own distinct shapes and flavors, and some cultures are more prominent than others. Viewing America like a melting pot implies West. In the United States, you see a dominant culture that was originally established and enforced by white European colonizers onto the native people of the land. An example of this is Christian missionaries forcing Native American children to attend Christian boarding schools, where they were literally forced to give up their cultural values and language in order to assimilate into the dominant white society. You can also see tons of examples of this today, like
I believe that's known as cultural assimilation, but you know, anyways, technically there are a lot of Native Americans today that will practice a certain religion, and of course I find it really odd seeing as that's what happened to them. But hey, teachers are own. I mean, I know we have black people who are Baptists, so that's a sect of Christianity. Did they not, force us to follow that religion? But nowadays, no. So I guess you can bend this whole thing however you want. And technically, out of fairness, I thought according to, most of the progressive, liberal, whatever left, Jesus is black, so who cares? Because, it was the other way around, no offense, and anyways.
black culture or the enforcement of the English language on American citizens. So what is the difference between cultural exchange and cultural appropriation? Cultural exchange occurs when two groups
Cultural appropriation is cultural exchange. Idiot. Okay? You're taking something from another culture, not so much like taking it and making it your own, like you're taking the intellectual properties. No. You might have taken it because who knows? Like for example, I tend to read and I like to watch anime, and I've been really getting more into my manga library that I have. So yeah, gotta love me some Sakura card captor. But technically, I appropriated from your culture, and technically, I think black people have been doing that for a longer time than we want to admit. So actually, I assume we're supposed to, be rubbing up against you. Yeah, that didn't sound right. Anyways, yeah. You shouldn't be angry with white people. You shouldn't be angry at white people. You probably should be more angry with black people, but, you know.
on equal footing, meaning one isn't oppressing the other, share cultural items, ideas, or traditions with each other in a respectful and informed way. A cultural group or group member is willingly sharing their culture with another group and defining the exchange on their own terms. However, we also need to look at the relationship between the cultural groups involved in the exchange of culture. Richard A. Rogers states in his paper, From Cultural Exchange to Transculturation, cultural appropriation is inescapably intertwined with cultural politics. It is involved in the assimilation and exploitation of marginalized and colonized cultures, and in the survival of subordinated cultures and their resistance to dominant cultures. When looking at cultural exchange, it's important to look at the power structures involved. Is the culture being taken a dominant or subordinated culture? According to Rogers, there are two types of cultural appropriation. Cultural dominance, which is when a subordinated group takes elements from the dominant culture. This is usually something that is imposed upon the subordinated group and is more commonly referred to as assimilation. When immigrating to the United States, it's usually used as a tool to survive. The type of appropriation we're more interested in here is cultural exploitation, which Rogers defines as the appropriation of elements of a subordinated culture by a dominant culture without substantive reciprocity, permission, and or compensation. The line between
So basically, what we have to do, what white people, well, pretty much every race has to do, is beg all members of the same race, can I or can I not look at anime or read manga or dress in the dashiki or have basically what happened recently, I believe, where, I think wasn't it dreadlocks? Yes, dreadlocks. Yeah, we have to beg and plead another culture to do something that either what I'm going to assume majority of the culture that it was the group you took it from, the racial group you took it from. But is it okay if I wear these things? And not just people you actually know, every single person of that race. So yeah, that's basically what you're asking, Marina. And that's also provided if people in that said group gave a fuck, about this idea. Because like I said, I don't really care about someone taking twerking. So why would you care if someone read manga, or Irish people hating you guys for, I don't know what was it. Oh, the fact that some of us want to go one day and live in the White House, seeing as they were forced to build that thing. So yeah, whatever, Marina.
Speaking and appropriation can sometimes be kind of blurry, and there's a lot of gray area. So here are some questions you should be asking yourself before incorporating parts of the culture that you don't belong to. Is it a genuine representation? Is it a sacred item?
First of all, so basically, in order for me to enjoy manga, I have to fly all the way to Tokyo, Japan, and buy it from them. Now, I guess I don't have to. I always have it shipped over here if I want to. But still, you would view that as cultural appropriation, would you not? Also, is it sacred? Let's just put it this way. I'm black, and I have been raised in in Christianity all my life. So, the question is it okay for me to practice that? I mean, I guess according to some of you idiots, yes, it is. I'm black, so, you know. Another is that, basically guys have to ask women if we can watch My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Even if some of those women are like, I don't know what the fuck that is, but okay. So we all have to ask permission from that said group for no goddamn reason other than because you SJWs say so. It has fuck all to do with them being offended. Very few people actually get offended, unless, and even then, most of the time, I personally think the people who do, I think they're actually racist because it's like, if you listen or work or any of that, you can keep it. Frankly, it's one of the few things I'm like, yeah, you can have that. I didn't want that in the first place. Also, it doesn't belong to me either. It belongs to the person who created it. It's usually a small subset, and even of that said racial group. So basically, none of us can do grunge. That's a white person thing. Hey, damn it, I like grunge and I like those, so no.
Headdress or part of a sacred tradition or ritual? Who wears the item or participates in the tradition? Is it just anybody, or is it respected members of the community that has to go through a specific process in order to gain access to it? If it's an item you can purchase, who is laboring and who is profiting from it? Is it from a group that has been historically discriminated against?
Okay, look at this word. Historically. Say it with me, Marina. Historically. As in, historically, as it was in history, not now. They are no longer being discriminated against by any fucking choice. And heck, maybe the fact that this might be evidence that they are no longer historically discriminated against. Because, I'm sorry, why the fuck would I want to wear slaves' clothes if I'm a rich fuck? Just saying. If I'm poor, chances are I'm not allowed to wear what the rich people wear. There. So, yeah. Also, profiting. Well, first of all, if you sold it to one group, the other one takes it. Like, is that painting that was given away in Oklahoma? I don't know if you've heard this story. But apparently, it was taken by the Nazis and given to, I guess the OU school had it, and well, the either ancestor of the person who painted it wanted to take it back. Of course, I don't know if she wanted to buy it back or not, but I feel in some regard, if our school bought it fair and fucking square, I think she should have to buy it back. Because guess what? Just because you happen to share the same genes of that same person who created it doesn't mean it's yours. Also, oh, just because over hundreds of years ago your people were being hurt by, guess what? The Germans, not all white people, by the way. Hey, I think that kind of renders the whole thing completely and utterly. I mean, you have to pay the school whatever the fuck they had. I'm sorry, I think it sucks because yes, the Nazis took a lot of things like you idiots are doing right now. Yeah, but yeah, whatever.
Discriminated against today, and as a representation of the culture promoting exaggerated or negative stereotypes. This is something I particularly.
I don't even know if I want to go on because I continue. Just moving on.
Historically, stereotypes have been used to justify racism and discrimination against subordinated groups. For example, a couple hundred years ago, black men and black women were considered dumb, subservient, brutal, and likened to children needing guidance in order to justify slavery. By dehumanizing them, people were able to define.
Actually, no. We at the time were childlike because, albeit I'm glad slavery is over and I'm free and all that stuff. But I was a slave. Hey, it might have been a good thing for me to stay a slave, at least until my slave owners had educated me enough so I could go out in the world and at least succeed. When you just let them go willy nilly, now we have a bigger mess on our problem because those people have not. Some of them did not get a proper education, so obviously it was not fair to just go, yes, you're free, go be free, my brothers. Yeah, freedom's not free, it comes at a cost, and it's good to at least know that cost. That's my belief.
It's extremely important when exchanging culture to think critically about whether or not we're using accurate representations, and if those representations perpetuate negative stereotypes about the culture they belong to. Dressing up in a sacred Native American headdress for Halloween might seem like a really fun idea, but you need to think critically about what you're actually doing. You might have good intentions, but perpetuating stereotypes only simplifies and reduces.
I get what you're trying to say, like, you have good intentions, but here's the thing, it's a little bit more than good intentions. It's called Halloween costume. Okay, and wanna bet some Native Americans are dressing up in, the kimono, black people are dressing up in, I don't know, Nazi jack boots. Kind of fitting if they're SJWs, by the way. But anyways, pretty much everyone can do that. Given the party, I guess, like if it's a Halloween party, so it's like no scary Halloween costumes and there's little kids around. Yeah, I understand why they would do that. Not exactly a great idea. Don't want to scare them too much, but enjoy your Halloween.
And by reducing these cultures, you reduce people that belong to them and make it easier to justify their oppression.
Like I said before, if a white person wants to twerk and it becomes popular amongst white people and less popular amongst black people, why am I offended? My attitude is good. They can keep it. It is not mine. Much like I'm sure, I don't know, isn't there the stereotype of you Asians being smart? Right? Isn't it nice that maybe some of you can be idiots and it's okay? And the white people can be the smart ones? Seeing as, by the way, I think according to some people, you're the ones who are actually more in power, seeing as you're the ones who earn the most, seem to do better in college and all that stuff. So, yeah. So, shut up, Marina. And I think I'm spent. I think that's all I can say. Anyways, this is Pandora the Eclectic telling you all to keep it frosty. And Marina, shut up. Yeah, just do that. Just shut up.